getting a bull lift to the upside. Looked like a lot of sellers. Where was that entry point, right? So their entry point was at 51.5. It made it down to 48. So I was looking to see maybe there was like a 2-point scalp or something like that. They're not going to be too happy about this though, right? Their actual risk objective right here and now starting to come back on them again. I have to assume that now they're probably going to be looking to exit a break even if this strong bull candle closes in the next 2 minutes. So if we do get a strong bull candle close, a return to that break even point could find a nice little scalp there. So if we can close back above their original entry point on the S&P, I'm going to be looking to potentially scalp off of that area. Had a full bull engulfing candle, and I'm sure not a lot of traders are going to be too pumped about seeing that if they've been short from bar 2. Honestly, I was hoping for a stronger bull candle. I don't think a candle that looks like this is going to make them nervous. What I do think it's going to do is it's going to have them put their stops above it, right? So I'm not interested in getting out with them, but I am interested if it does break above 55.75. I think every seller who sold bar 2, they allowed it to go all the way back, and now it's back to their break-even point, and they see a big bull engulfing candle. They're not going to want anything to do with it if it breaks above it. So 55.75 is the area that I'm looking for a possible scalp. I don't think I have an ATM. Yeah. So if it triggers 55.75, I'm anticipating a quick stop run up to 56.25 or 3/4, maybe even a little bit further. It does look like some traders did exit at their break-even point, though. I mean, notice they did have a bounce off that break-even point. Likely not a lot of people were filled there, though. And that's going to add even more stops above bar 11. So 55.75 to 56.75 is what I'm looking for. You can almost feel the pain, can't you? You see this big bull engulfing candle, you get a little bit nervous, so you lock your stop in a little bit closer and immediately starts running up towards the stop. Raise your hands if you've been there before. Well, you're seeing it happen right now. So the sellers who got out of break even or moved their stop down at 55.75, their stops are being hit. I'm looking for a pop through this area on their stops being triggered to get a scalp to the upside. See all the stops? I didn't get my target filled though. 56.75 didn't fill. Tested. What time is that? 10:30? No, I think if they're given a chance to come back to break even, I don't mind buying another one there to see if it actually fill them. I think sellers are running scared right now. Target filled on Bitcoin. So got the target on there in the small little position. I was looking to build in a little bit more than that, but got the target nonetheless. So that trade is done. I'm going to cancel the buy on the BUND, the FGBL. Still watching the DAX, but probably won't get that one. The only one that I really have a whole lot of interest in anymore is gold. I think 1320.2 will be an area of interest. Crude oil just got smacked. I don't see the left side of your screen. Is that another buy on the ES or a stop loss? It's another buy. Stops would show up as a different color. Stops are like a reddish, purpley kind of color. Yeah, no problem. Now, looking in context here, the S&P, now they've come back. I'm going to widen my target out. The thing that I like about this now even more is that they've come back and you can see they're exiting even more aggressively. They're not willing to take break even anymore. They just want to get the hell out. They're exiting 1 tick past their loss, or they're exiting 2 ticks past their loss. I think a lot of sellers thought, man, look at this move down, and then it starts turning back up. They don't want anything to do with it anymore. So primary objective is going to be a little bit wider now. This has the potential of reversing back to a new high a day. So I am going to get a little bit greedier on the target here. I'm going to go to the high closes just to play it a little bit more conservatively. 61.5. But this context definitely gives a setup to a possible run up towards the high closes and to possibly even a new high. If I had more contracts on, I'd look to possibly run one more, but it never filled me down at 51.25. So. The Dow hasn't really seen any lift at all yet. The NASDAQ is, I mean, the NASDAQ's the strongest out of all of them. It's almost at a new high. It's almost been at a new high for a while now. All right, going on 10:30. That's going to do it for today. So feel free to type in those questions, and we'll go into those for training. Let's see, what does my actual risk versus reward look like? Made it down to those lows. I'm above a 1-to-1. Technically speaking, 1-to-1 for actual risk is at 60, but I think I can get a little more than that. Now my actual risk, my entry point was here. It went as low as that. So it means that if we can break above this, we might be able to maybe trail out a little bit more. What's a 2-to-1 look like? So I'm going to lift this up to a 2-to-1, and I'll lock in my 1-to-1 when I am able. If we can get up to, 61 or 62 or so, back to those high closes, then I'll lock in my 1-to-1 and see if I can get the 2-to-1. Well, doubtable that we're going to come back to 51.25 now, huh? Think that ship has sailed. So we're at the 1-to-1. If we can push up to those high closes, I'm going to lock in 26.60, and I'm going to look for my 2-to-1 target at 64.25. That's good enough. So I've got my 1-to-1 locked in for my actual risk. Now it's just a matter of seeing if it wants to follow through. Try to tighten this up a little bit more so you can get a little bit extra out of this. I would like to see if they can get up to 61.5. If they can get up to like 62.5, 62.75, then we can lock in those high closes. But likely, given the range-bound sentiment so far, there's going to be a lot of sellers that sell this candle's close. Yeah, tapped out. So we got a little 1 tick better than 1-to-1 actual risk, but just a beautiful play on understanding the fears of the sellers, right? The sellers trying to come in below bar 2. They had really good follow through and it immediately started failing. They have actual risk. All right, finally, it's turning back in our direction. We can take it a little bit lower, and then immediately fails again. Nope, get out. Right? So we can use those fears to our advantage, and that ended up being a really nice trade. It's all about context.